If you clicked on this video, that means that it showed up for you. That means it is for you if you felt the resonance enough to click. There are many ways that you can click and use your attention like this. A lot of it has to do with what you're feeling. With this technology that you're watching, YouTube, all of these, Instagram, there are a lot of attention span, gets you to capture your attention. And so the body can feel that sometimes it is too much. But the mind can be in a habit of just doing it. We're itching a little bit. There are some mosquitoes and stuff, so we're just maneuvering the body a little bit as we're we have observed ourselves on YouTube doing that, and we're like, oh yeah, it looks a bit weird because we're just like doing something under the thing. It's funny. It's quite a journey to open up the body to people again. We find it's a little bit challenging. That's what we're working on, and the actual opening, because it's, you know, like you can think that it's about that person over there, you know, that doesn't want to open to you, let's say, or not in the speed that you would like it to, or, you know, whatever that is. And that's never accurate, because what this being is presenting to you is that you're not ready either, type of thing. You know, it's the mirror that is telling you that there's still some work to be done. That's what it means. This is sort of like the gaia reflection in people. So pay attention what beings are doing. You know, just pay attention. Read another person's body. Not based on what you associate that being to be, but seeing the actions, feeling the words that is spoken, feeling deeper into that in your body. You usually feel that really fast, usually, if you're connected. Sometimes it can be a bit slower, but that just means it's more sort of confusing perspectives that needs to be corrected for the clarity to come through. Because as a soul operating the body, there is a certain level of truth with that interaction between the soul and the body. And so no matter what a person thinks is reality, the truth will always be true. But that doesn't mean that the distorted thinking doesn't produce effect. You see? It's not so much about the thinking. It's more about the feeling and the integration of the truth. Because once you are in feeling, you are where you're meant to be. outside of thinking. And when you're in feeling, everything just works so much better. Because it's real. That's what real is. That body, what the bodies are experiencing. That is what the reality is here. And that is what's been really messed with in the society. You can just see everywhere. You have people going around like this constantly as a substitute for back in the day when this was popular. Now it's less popular. Now it's more like the vape thing. But these are just habits of behavior, usually cover up for things that your body would like to express in truth. It's sort of like cover up because you feel a bit nervous, maybe you are a little bit anxious. How about just freaking saying all of that stuff out loud to everyone? Who the fuck cares anymore? Like what? Like people are so disconnected from one another. It's like, and most beings are fake or pretending, and I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna do 180. I'm just gonna tell the truth. That's gonna be my practice. This is the rebel in us, right? So that's what we've done. We have practiced. First of all, we had to go through a whole purging process of seeing reality. That took us a couple of years. You know, it's not an easy journey, some of these, some of the depths that we have touched, you know, just in despair and really distorted feelings. But that's because of our distorted thinking. But we didn't get that in the beginning. We just focused on like getting the concept. And what we've realized is that there are many different stages to this consciousness journey, out from the dualistic perspective and into the holistic perspective, which is where miracles are very natural. Healing the body is just what happens because you're aligned. You know, like it's those types of things. You just receive the right thing and the right thing to say when it's time to say it, because you're connected to something bigger. And that bigger is outside of the human interactions even. So listening to some other person, unless they make sense, doesn't make sense. Because that's you adhering to some other energy telling you something that might not be for your best interest. And how do you know? The only way to know is to practice authenticity and truth in yourself, because then you can read it like an open book with anyone. The more open you are, the more you see. But that's a little kicker, isn't it? Because then you have to open and you have to actually be honest and share your feelings. That's the requirement to stay in these frequencies, to share, to have the mind and the body simply be aligned. That's what that means. It doesn't mean have a thought and then try and convince yourself of one thought when the body is clearly, there is a truth of the body that we are trying to guide everyone to. This is the energetic truth. This is the truth of the body. It doesn't mean that the body needs to get its way, but at least know what your body is trying to tell you before you try and superimpose what it's supposed to be or what it shouldn't be. a lot of beings hold themselves back with those kinds of behavior. And these are just habitual things that grandfather, grandmother, and you just kept going. This is why it takes a soul to come into the body to make some changes. And what is the soul? That's the knower. It's an aware knower. You can't come into the body before you're aware that you can come into the body. like that there are different, like, oh, I can do that? Cool. We didn't even know that you can freaking get into your body when we first experienced this. But the more we kept doing it, the more there is a truth here, and we just followed that. And this is something that it's very easy to follow as a child. It's this childlike wonder and just enjoying where you're at. Like, we feel like we're in a freaking fairy tale with ourselves. We have wanted to live this life. It is a little challenging, of course, because this is reality. We have to face reality. But we also really like it. Some things we like, some things we don't like, and then we try and do the best of this life, because what more fun than a soul that's decided, I'm going to do this and do it. Many people call this being masculine. We don't want to confuse masculine and feminine into this, because it's so confusing when people are talking about this in the spiritual field, because a lot of beings are feeling something completely different. They're feeling like they're confused about what feminine or masculine is in truth. That's why we're talking about it so much, because people think that they know. When it's just another mirror out there of thoughts. The truth is felt in the body. And your body has a wealth of information that is untapped in most human beings. This is what is a map, actually. It is the map of the soul that we're guiding people to get in touch with. Because once you are in touch with this, and it's a frequency, it has to do with intuition. When do you receive this map? Well, first you have to be good at identifying what intuition is in your space. You have to clarify your space. You have to get done with your past. There are a lot of things like this that you have to just master. Why? Because you can. You can do much more things than what you see in this world. But for that, you have to know how this game works. How do you actually create as a conscious creator, fully connected to Gaia, with Gaia, receiving higher intelligence and working from that space, not from the egoic construct of perhaps an aware knower, perhaps a little bit unaware, you know? We can tell you, we are still working on our knower in some areas. We know that this goes deep. So don't think that you've got it already. We've certainly fallen for those trickster thoughts, thinking that you're better than. And it's just these, they're just there as thoughts in response to things. Those are the ones that you have to tackle. Those are internal things. They're getting projected, but there are internal things that needs to harmonize. So that's why we call it the knower, which is sort of the filtering mechanism up to the soul. And that needs to be calibrated. Many beings go thinking distorted things, and it's not in complete harmony with the body. So the goal always should be for any soul to fully connect with yourself first, before you do anything. This is the reason why we created Gaia Live. Gaia stands for Human Energy Internal Alignment Sessions. They are calibrations of frequency. When you are joining in one of these, which I highly recommend, sign up. There's a link somewhere. There's a WhatsApp group, and we post every week. So you can join us for these Gaia Lives. What we're doing in them is that we are calibrating the knower and the feeler and bring more consciousness, awareness into the body. We're using breath work, we're using breath holds, we are using toning to calibrate the system. There are also other things that gets channeled inside of these. Sometimes there are certain sections of knowledge that come through because of the channeling and what this alignment brings, especially for us, because we have so much training using this modality. And the more you use something like this, the more it will work. That is also how it is. It is about making something a habit. Once you make it a habit, it starts to take hold, and your body starts to be good with it as an automatic. This is how you train your body. And so there are many things that does need to train. Sometimes the best you can do is just get some assistance with some Gaia, join us. It's a big group. It's like a group calibration. So we're working with the group, and we are assisting with the integration to the team that is guided by us. And then once that happens, then whatever you need, you will receive. So if you need healing, you will receive that. If you just conk out, you need that. There are many different things that can happen. But know that they are moving you in the right direction. So, if you wish to join us, there is a link below, and we want to say thank you so much. We'll talk to you again in the next one. Ciao.